Morya, 49 Shades of Grey, the Rule 1 Study Group, 14 Rules for Group Initiation, May 2nd, 2018. Greetings, dear heart. I am Morya, and come to you today to share further information that relates to your studies, which have begun with Rule 1 of the 14 Rules for Group Initiation, and those who continue with the other 13 rules. I wish to open this discourse with not only those who have now completed Rule 1, but those who are about to join this initiative that has been presented to you through the creativity of dear souls walking within the duality, while making greater strides in their connection with their I Am presences. This new path for the initiation process is a group intent, a group force field, and is proving to be a worthwhile venture into the unknown. The results thus far for this initiative is providing us with very important information, and we will continue to do so, depending on the number of disciples and initiates who find their way to the 14 rules via the guidance of their I Am presence. Many things have come to our attention during the first group initiation, for the combined unity is this point of tension or focus. Each of you who have completed this trial Rule 1 study group and the other 14 rules had no way of knowing just how clearly you would have found the very path you have been waiting for so long, and for that we are very grateful. There is much to share in so little time right now, so I'm going to be very direct and ask that each of you, no matter who you are, be extremely mindful of what I am about to say. For as the majority of the group is now moving into the whole of the 14 Rules study, and for those who will follow in your footsteps. Let us begin by speaking a little about the I Am presence and your relationship with her, him. I say clearly him or her, for even though you may grasp a little of the monadic essence of your beingness, all consciousness within this solar system, from the most minute pentaquark to the solar system itself, comes under the cosmic laws of polarity and the laws of gender. This is not the place right now to speak of these things, but I mentioned in advance for a deeper discussion of these laws in due course. So because it is easier for you to relate to your I Am presence as masculine or feminine, or the father and mother principle, or even divine consciousness, we need to use language that you can ascribe to. It has been in some cases many millennia since you have had a direct connection and an open communication with your I Am presence. Therefore, throughout the eons of time, through your incarnation, there has been much dissonance, discord, friction, resistance, disharmony, and in fact disagreement that has shut down these connections. These can be for many reasons, but let's not travel that path here. We are attempting to dissolve such travesties. But what I wish you to know in a much more embedded way as part of your fixed design is the law of action. This law simply stated, no matter what you feel or know, no matter what your potential gifts or talents, only action brings them to life. Those of you who think you understand concepts such as commitment, courage, and love will one day discover that you only create knowingness when you place your knowledge into action. Doing becomes the understanding. Following through intuitively leads to becoming. And the creation is the evidence and witness of the wisdom gained. Every disciple and initiate is a focal point of energy and should be conscious focal point of that energy. In the midst of any whirlpool or thunderstorm of human consciousness of the chaos of third dimension, she or he should make his or her I Am presence felt within him or herself. This is the law of action, and the law of action in motion. Do you see? The renewed connection with your I Am presence is going to take a bit of time, and more so a great deal of effort through discernment, and this can be done in several ways. Silence, taking several breaths before speaking, linking with your I Am before opening your mouth, becoming the observer rather than the participant within any exchange. Listening is a wonderful tool in this process, for while you are listening with no other thought in your mind, you are opening to the truth of the situation, the circumstance, the drama, the reaction. While you are engaging with your environment outside of a peaceful, harmonious, and joyous attitude, any connection with your I Am presence is going to be full of static, interference, obstruction, impediment, or other noise that is not conducive to a direct communication. So, dear hearts, be very aware of the voices that belong to your four lower bodies, the combination of what is called your personality and consciousness, whose goal is to tell you how great you are, what you know, how well you are doing, how important what you say. The ego is in battle with what it knows as reality and cannot appreciate that your I Am knows. The I Am needs say nothing, for in its action it is sharing all as known by the receiver listener. The I Am is seen for all its colors because it comes from truth, and in truth no proof is needed. No need for defensive behaviors or unbalanced attitude is required. The I Am simply is. The ego personality is a tricky customer, as you can appreciate, and it will do everything it can to make you think you are further along the path than you actually might be. So be aware of this. You will have to be listening and aware of every thought, word, and action that comes from your energetic environment, both within and around you. Not only that, but listening to every word and watching every action from another whom you are engaging with or in company of. You can learn a great deal by simply listening first and responding after consultation with your I Am presence, and thus calling upon your reserves of God Source energy. I will speak of energy reserves later in this discourse, but for now know that each person is given, according to their potentialities and capabilities, a pool of God Source, prime creator energy, and allowed to use that volume of creative energy in any way they choose, in the way they themselves deem necessary and important. The catch is, however, every action, every thought, and every word remains karmically connected to that life stream and must be answered through the law of accountability, the law of retribution or cause and effect. An example of this would be a person who says, I am listening to my I Am presence, and my I Am presence told me to do this and how to do that. I am following my I Am presence. Dear souls, the I Am presence does not work in this way. The ego personality does. The I Am presence has no need for and no desire for recognition in any way. It is not attached to anything here in the third dimensional plane, other than the cord of life through the antakarana of each soul incarnate. The I Am presence will never even say, I am your presence, for it is always, ever present, offering you all your life experiences on every level of vibrational frequency. You see, dear hearts, you are the personal and impersonal life expression of the God within, the essence of love and light of the Father-Mother life. You are already divine consciousness expressing in the law of action. It is not what you express, but how you express it, your attitude. Do you see? Be mindful of this, for it is a major key for your progressive ascension. Your I Am presence will only ever speak directly to you, not to anyone else. They have their own personal link to their own I Am presence, and they have their own responsibilities to connect in accordance to their own life lessons. Understand this, and many misunderstandings, many unbalanced situations can be avoided, and life can become far more cohesive in love and action. So please take the time daily to open to and cultivate your own connection directly with your own I Am presence. If this is not done, then little progress shall be made from this point forward. It is the harmony, balance, and purity you have with yourself that will provide all you need to pass through the next rings of consciousness awaiting you in the coming days, weeks, and months. I am bringing this up now, for it is important to know at this stage that all the colors that you have now been consciously exposed to, with the 7 rays and the 7 sub-rays of all the qualities and virtues of the colors with Master DK, are all presently shrouded in meddling shades of gray. The 49 shades of gray are the veils which are self-imposed due to your lack of knowledge, experience, incorrect attitudes, and the many old beliefs and programs you continue to live your lives within. These 49 shades of gray are the imposed imperfection of the vibrant, vivacious, effervescent, alive, energetic, animated, luminous, vivid, and life-giving love, wisdom and power of the 49 colors of God's life. These 49 shades of gray are what are holding you back from the very truth, self-realized through the joy of life, the beauty of life, the radiance of life. It is like living every day of your life in cloudy days, never seeing or feeling the purity of the sun's rays upon your person. The clouds have their purpose, but so does the sunlight, the blue sky, and the joyous feeling when exposed to the balance of life-giving sustenance, life through love. Now, I'm not telling any of you what you do not already know. I know this. But sometimes in the effort to quicken the process, one tends to fall into the trap of slowing down the potentials due to the shades of gray that envelop the human experience in a veil of forgetfulness. It is so easy to forget at times, for life on earth with all your daily routines and responsibilities are ever calling. Yet the 14 rules, as you have or will discover, will become vital information to revitalize the colors of your God life. These rules will help you with the fundamental foundations to help you place your focus upon the tones, hues, characters, ambience, feelings, and natural state of being. They will return your true colors of life if you follow the rules in a progressive way, while dissolving, melting, dissipating, erasing, and no longer acknowledging the 49 shades of gray that continue to hold you back. Beloved, Metatron is going to expand upon this in his own way in due course. There is so much for you to know that will help you to shine in your true colors of divine qualities, virtues, integrities, and honesties, indeed, moralities of life. You may not have heard anyone else speak of integrity, honesty, or morality in this way before, but I can assure you that these aspects are just as important as any quality or virtue that can be mentioned. In a group environmental, particularly today, and with the very intent being placed here in the Elemental Grace Alliance, and its subsequent circles of light within and indeed without, one of the most important facets often overlooked is the law of commission and the law of omission. I now come back to the matter of energy reserves. This is particularly going to become more present with the age of Aquarius and that of the initiation of the seventh ray. I make reference to it now, for here is one of the major points in divine virtues that must be mastered before passing the third cosmic initiation. I wish to inform you through the words of Mother Mary within a discourse given by her in the gathering of the Chelas of the I Am Presence teaching, that is about that which govern one's karma in this relationship to source energy, and the use of it by each human being incarnated upon the earth. In this case, Mother Mary said, "The glorious pure energy of God, each electron of which contains the fullness of the divine plan, continues to flow for the individual's use under the conscious direction of the I Am Presence. For every electron loaned to the individual shall be rendered accountable. Energy is mankind to command. Energy becomes power through use, whether through the wielding of a sledgehammer or in the use of a power of God Almighty to build a momentum of victory in commanding the electronic white fire light to manifest a decree. This law of balance is always referred to as the law of retribution, as set forth in the old axiom, as you sow, so shall you reap. It was not intended as a threat of punishment to evildoers, but as an expression of the mathematical precision of life, that one must sow the seed of perfection and concise mathematical accuracy, that the reaping will be in exact proportion to the sowing. It is not generally understood by mankind that as self-conscious expressions of life, they are held responsible by cosmic law for every particle of this precious energy received from the heart of the Godhead. Every individual has created a certain amount of what is loosely referred to as destructive karma in his earth life since the fall of man. This karma acts on many planes. Its action is determined by which body is the chief offender. For instance, a physical body performing acts of violence releases a tremendous amount of misqualified energy that sooner or later attaches itself to the physical body. Likewise, acts of discord on the mental plane, such as crimes of mental cruelty, result in the mental element being charged in the vibratory action and stamp of the individual. At some future time, these pressures return to the mental body. Individuals who perform acts of emotional cruelty charge the substance of the emotional plane with certain vibratory actions, which will be recorded in the emotional body of the individual. When a discordant vibration is emitted from an individual, the distance it covers before returning depends on the intensity in which it is projected, both on its outward and also its homeward journey. It obeys the law of the circle, and while it is absent from the aura of the individual, who is responsible for its projection, it attracts to itself vibrations corresponding to its own rate. So by the time it completes the circle and returns home, it is accompanied by a good number of the same quality of thought and feeling vibrations with which it started. If you truly understand what Mother Mary is accentuating here, then you will also see or feel the effects within your life that also play major parts in the shading of gray of the qualities and virtues of your true life colors. Now, I'm not going into the details of this, for again, each of you are far enough along the path to know this, and even perhaps to have dealt with these things in your life to date. However, this is another aspect that at the level of consciousness you are now enveloping. Through your group intentions or development, I wish to bring your attention to. Remember, there are three laws that pertain to group activity: the law of group endeavor, the law of group life, and the law of group progress. I, in very simple terms, will give you a brief overview so I may make my point to become clearer to you. The law of group endeavor This law defines the multiplying of the energy one creates when acting with like-minded individuals to form a group effort to pray, manifest, do light work, or even to create degrees of control which we define as inequity or imbalance. Where the efforts of an individual may equal one unit, the efforts of two for a common goal with equal energy will affect the energy of 20 units instead of the sum total of 2. With 3, the resultant energy explodes exponentially. The longer pure thought, the exclusion of any other thought of one's desired goal is held in the mind, the more powerful the result. Holding a pure thought for an increment of time, not less than 18 seconds, is the beginning of the lesson of manifestation. The law of group life. Mankind must fulfill in love their family and national obligations, but also they must think in the wider terms of humanity itself, and so bring the law of unity into expression. Questions of self, such as, will my action tend to the group good? Will the group suffer or be hurt if I do this action? Abiding by these actions will gradually become part of your overall consciousness, and the human race will adjust itself to these new conditions. As aspects of the life of God are interdependent, and when one proceeds to fuller expression, all of the group benefits. The law of group progress. This law is also known as the law of elevation. It is defined in the group activity of rightful and lawful action, not only by each individual, but by the group as a whole. It is reflective of the seventh ray energy and its qualities and virtues. It is the evolving factor of moving forward. To discover the full expression of the group gathering and initiation in today's consciousness, you will appreciate the study of the 14 Rules of Group Initiation by Dwal Kul, where the older group consciousness can now be surpassed into higher understanding. If you wish, this then is a wonderful opportunity to engage. Now, my point, and I shall share this with you using myself as an example here. If a master has given a certain dictation that is recorded in some books, and a lecturer puts this information in his own words, but misinterprets the master's dictation through insufficient study and preparation, then this is an example of the karma of omission. Also, when the Bridge to Freedom dispensation was given to me, and the following warning was given by the Karmic Board of Directors, if the disciples do not return the energy of the dictations through study and application, you are creating karma of omission for them, and you yourself will have to make up that karmic through application in doing some constructive project. It was only after my agreeing to this provision that the dispensation was granted by the Karmic Board. Here are some other examples of the karma of omission as given by the Great Ones. Those of you who do not now have financial freedom, and at one time did have much wealth to contribute to God's plan, and you withheld it, or used it freely for personal pleasure. Others who have limitations of mind and body had at one time perfect health and opportunity to serve God, but used those minds and bodies for lesser ends. Also, the disciple or initiate, earnestly and sincerely, and who calls to the beloved I Am Presence and the Christ flame within, during times of the will to good through meditation and contemplation, but at times of one's life's issue bypasses the I Am Presence and instantly engages the ego personality within the heart of the discord, trying to bring about a false balance. Therein is an air of omission of acceptance of the power of God within you to act upon. If you are going to use the name of the I Am Presence and the Christ flame, if you are going to accept that God Almighty is alive in the heart of you, can you not give a moment for the Christ within to act through you before dashing into turbulence? The divine consciousness can and will handle harmoniously all conditions of a discordant nature when allowed to act through your free will. So easy to forget when the four lower voices are not listening in the silence of the all that is. The action of communication with your I Am Presence and allowing the I Am to act through you is the law of commission. This law, in other words, links you directly to the grant that has been given to the Son of Ever-Pressure Disciple Council and the Elemental Grace Alliance, and the acceptance of the cosmic laws to take possession of the atmosphere of Earth, becoming the authority of what is to act here, through you, and we granted a dispensation so you could receive greater guidance, clear instruction and direction. So again, I make reference to this for each and every one listening or reading here to become very mindful that what you share or respond to, as you guide and support others, must be accurate, must be held in the highest esteem of your I Am Presence. Else your inadequacies, errors, and omissions hold karmic responsibilities, not only for you, but others and the masters who serve you. for we must all do what we can to have you return the energy reserves that you use safely, effectively, and with maximum return. Else we have failed in our responsibilities, and hence must continue with further duties to attend to. This is why within the 14 rules it says, we are constantly reviewing and changing the techniques that no longer work or have not worked to maximize the return of the life of God back to Source. Do you understand this? If not, take some time out to do so, for it is you, dear souls, who remain within the 49 shades of gray, who must be freed so that the true colors of life may return. We know many of you are becoming somewhat impatient with the process and extremely desirous to get things done, but this in many ways is only holding you back, delaying what is inevitable the moment you see your true 49 colors. The inability to clearly listen and communicate with your I Am presence is a fundamental error that must be now given the highest priority. Finally, I add this before I close. If you will allow God to act through you, you will gain confidence. If you are wise, you will keep quiet about the manifestations, no matter how small they are, until you have been sealed at least for 48 hours in the Elohim of Peace's love, and you will achieve a sense of self-mastery, which is the purpose for which you are in embodiment. You are here to learn self-mastery over energy and vibration. I have given you much to contemplate and deliberate over, and so I shall now take my leave and allow you all to come together through your further group intention. Set your creations in active love motion, and as each one manifests, hold it for a minimum of 48 hours in deep focus and concentration before releasing the news to the public or other like-minded groups. Follow the laws of precipitation, dear hearts. We are here to support you all the way home. This is knowledge not well known yet, so to make the most of it, we would invite you to review any past actions that come to mind and contemplate how these could have been played out in the highest way possible. Think about your lives as they are in this now moment. Ask yourself what this all means for you. Always be conscious that you are aspiring to the fullness of the expression of God and devote all your being and your service to that end. Disassociate yourself from the personal delusion. Never let self-justification ever reveal that you love the self more than the harmony of the universe. If you are right, there's no need to acclaim it. If you are wrong, pray for forgiveness. Watching the self, you will find the rising tides of indignation among the more subtle shadows called self-righteousness. Walk gently through the universe, knowing that the body is a temple in which resides the Holy Spirit that brings peace and illumination to life everywhere. Keep your temple always in a respectful and cleanly manner as befitting the habitation of the Spirit of Truth. Respect the honor and gentle dignity in all other temples, knowing that often within a crude exterior burns a greater light. Open your hearts, dear souls, and use the law of forgiveness to move forward from here. You are not alone. And so it is. I am El Morya in your service.